Peace, hello to all. This is S.S.Oracle, Shadow and Soul Oracle. I'm Savvy, here to relay a message to those of the collective who are on paths to healing, releasing, and integrating their shadows and retrieving their souls through love and light, which is truth. Ashe to the team, Ashe to Source, to the Most High God, and to all of y'all. Ashe. All right. So what I really want to do is jump into this middle card, but I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time. These cards are amazing. These are from the House of Sacred Harmony. Okay. This is the House of Sacred Harmony Oracle Deity deck. What we're talking about here is the retrieval, right, of the inner child, the retriever of the inner child. And when we talk about the inner child and embracing the inner child, it's not just one child, y'all. It's many different aspects of our highest expression as we've developed over time from the moment of birth, right? From the time we're born here to the time we reach adulthood, right? We have a self. We have a self by the moment, okay? Self by the day. So it's like there's a lot of selves. And so when we're talking about integrating with healing, we're integrating a lot of the aspects of ourselves from our past. We're retrieving the highest levels of consciousness and positive expressions from those times. See, because within shadow work, what we do is we dive into those things that are blocking a lot of our joy, are blocking a lot of the things that we were passionate about in our youth, right? Those original things that we were passionate about as children or as adolescent, teenagers even, right? Those are very pure aspects to our being. And as we grow and develop in this world, in this society, there are so many programs and conditionings and generational tradition behaviors that get, ingrained within us, and it starts to overshadow, right? It starts to overshadow those pure, innate, divine intelligences that we have within ourselves. And this is what we observe in children. But we, as we've grown, and since we are adults now and still maturing and growing, we still have it. It doesn't go away, right? The inner child does not go away. The inner teenager does not go away. Those passions, those joys, they exist as a consciousness, and they exist in a timeline, right? So they're accessible, right? We tap into the inner child. Let's read the card. The number 43 could be significant again, right? So in ancient times, in the ancient Egyptian Kemetic pantheon, I'm always shout that pantheon out because whoa, okay? But it was written somewhere, okay? I'm pretty good with sources, and I have no issue sharing sources and things like that, but I don't remember exactly where I heard this from. But in their like mystery schools, you weren't considered an adult until you're in your 40s. Like maturity was not until you're 40. So in the West, in America, it's 18. You're considered an adult. Like, just think about that perspectively, and you think about the things we go through in life and how we develop, even biologically, right? Even within our bodies, our prefrontal cortex does not fully develop or reach a state of maturity until our 20s, our late 20s, right? 27, 28, okay? And that part of the brain is for decision making, right? Being able to be emotionally regulated. Late 20s. Okay. And so back to the ancient times, 40 was considered, okay, now you are a matured adult in your age 40. So that could be significant for people who are on that curve right now. Okay. All right. But we're looking at divine completion. The motto says, I am sacred with this embrace card. The deity itself is the inner child. Your inner child is a deity. Okay. Your inner child is a powerful force that encourages you to reconnect with your true self, heal past wounds, and experience personal spiritual transformation. You must discover who you were before the conditioning and programming of your childhood, who you were before the trauma, abuse, abandonment, and fear of ridicule and failure. Who were you? Your inner child yearns for your love and validation. Go rescue them. You are worth it. You are worth it. Right? Back to the passions. It can be very simple to retrieve our aspects of self, right? Music, coloring, dance, even down to certain smells. You know what I mean? Certain scents you used to like, things you used to like to eat. Okay? Like just to get in touch with that self, right? Just to get in touch with that self so that it can be the light that you are. Like that is the light. I was thinking the other day about old souls, how we use the term old souls, how we use that term to describe young infant children, babies. But it's like, the soul does not age. Okay. The soul doesn't age. And so you think a child grows up into an adult, are they still an old soul? Or does it kind of do this reversal thing where it's now you become a young soul because people will say, oh, you're still very childlike. It's crazy how that that reflection plays out, right? But really the soul does not age. We come that essence of who we are, that is in bliss, that is in pure joy, that is that soul. Period. Okay. And some people have that, and some people have it shadowed and blocked, and some people may not have it. Okay. This is a spiritual warfare out here. Some people don't have souls. Okay. Your soul is a moral compass. You know what I mean? It is truth. So if you have a soul on earth, you have a strong moral compass. Okay. And we can see how inhumane some things are in this world, but that's neither here or there. So let's jump right into this retribution card with Kali, because we're about to tear down all of that, okay, which has corrupted, right? So Kali, right? The goddess Kali she's depicted in she's from the Hindu mythology, in the Hindu pantheon, right? And she's depicted as a destructive force. She's also very nurturing and motherly too, though. And it's Kali Ma turns on when it's time to get shit done. When it's time for, when the last straw has been strawn. Okay. But before that and outside of that, Kali Ma is a nurturer. So it's for your best good. It's going to look like a mess. Like I saw a video the other day of this woman. She caught her child like in a gang somewhere, and she caught him and went in on him. You know what I'm saying? With force and aggression and violence. But it was like, I want to protect my child from these environments. And so it's like when that turns on, that's Kali coming in. And so what Kali looks like in our experience with healing, right? Let's read into the card. The motto is to submit. So the act of humility and gratitude is deeper than just a personality trait that most admire. It is a high frequency that can be used as a form of protection, manifestation, and abundance. When we fall out of this frequency, we lose all our good grace, protection, and harmony. We become selfish, egotistical, cold-hearted, and motivated by fear. This is when the goddess Kali comes in and punishes us with her unsuspecting and ruthless wrath to get you back in alignment. So Kali is an ego check. Okay? Kali is an ego check. Like if it's constantly looking like things are being torn down, it's an ego check. We need to get beyond a lot of, I'm hearing greed, okay, being greedy, all of those negative sins, all of the sins, the 7 deadly sins, like those, like Kali comes crashing down on all of that, all of the humanity type things. Like get rid of all of this tangible, physical. We need to see ourselves in our highest light. We need to see ourselves as the soul. Okay. Get back to purity, get back to that which can be nurtured and nourished abundantly, indefinitely, infinitely, right? That's what Kali tears down. Kali tears down illusion. Kali tears down illusion. So maybe you're at a point in your life where you're reaching a transformation, right? You find yourself changing, say, how you want to act, how you want to be, how you want to live, and things like that. And you're at a crossroads between who you used to be and who you're attempting to be. It's the ego that's attached to things. The ego does not like change. right? Especially if we're attempting to do something absolutely new, you know what I'm saying, within our lives. Like the ego is going to get stronger. The best depiction of this, I think, that I've seen so far, if anybody, I'm always going to give a movie reference. I'll most likely give a movie reference. If it's not movie, it's going to be music, okay? But the movie Revolver with Jason Statham, right? In the scene where he's in the elevator and he's going back and forth with his ego, that's the daily constant battle that we each have when it's time to do something we've never done, because he was going to face, you know, his op and his ego's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's just like, that's how it is when we're making new decisions for ourselves in our lives. And we're affected by other people sometimes too in our environments that trigger our past selves. So it's important to know how to detach, right? And confidently remove ourselves from certain behaviors and situations and spaces that aren't aligning with who we are now. Because Kali, look at her, is coming through to wipe out that which no longer resonates for the most part, right? The part of you that does grow, which is our spiritual self, right? We're here to spiritually evolve. All right? Spiritually evolve. We come to this earth, you know, with things to learn and things to experience. Okay, and those things aid in our spiritual stamina, right? Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and beyond the flesh, when we're no longer here, we're still spirits. And so we acquire life, earth experiences, and we learn lessons, and it becomes our stamina to keep going because we've gone through the life. You see what I'm saying? Dang, like somebody really needs this understanding, because I'm starting to get like reincarnation, like why people reincarnate, because we have regret. You know what I mean? There's regrets in the life experience and things we haven't healed. And so it pulls us back down into this existence, into this life. Okay? If you go into the last reading and watch that reading, and I'm talking about regret, talking about regret and how releasing and forgiving is imperative to our healing path. And it's also imperative to our spiritual progression beyond this life. Right? Learning the lessons becomes stamina. It becomes fuel for us to keep going infinitely to experience, okay? So a lot of the work, right? A lot of the work is everything. I'm not even gonna front with y'all, okay? Like, but because our words are so powerful, this command card comes out, right? 21 could be significant too, back to that Kali card. And 21, I'm getting chakras, right? 21 in the ages of development for chakras, our lower chakras specifically though, let me back up. Our lower chakras are very physical world based. So if we're doing chakra healing, we're working on the physical aspects and, you know, of our experience here. All right. So the root chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the sacral chakra. Okay. Sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra specifically, right? Ages 14 to 21. So a lot of teen adolescent programming happens within the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is the consciousness of identity, right? The consciousness of identity. And we're talking about the soul, solar plexus. Again, a play on words, okay? So how you identify yourself. And there's a lot of programming that happens between the ages of 14 and 21 for the sense of identity. Going backwards, 7 to 14 is the sacral, and 0 to 7 is the root chakra. Okay, so those 7-year cycles that we get through the basic 7 chakras specifically, there's 7 cycles within each one. And those 7 years are years of programming. Okay, so dial into the programming and the experiences that were relevant between the ages of 14 and 21 with this retribution card specifically. But jumping to command, right? We're talking about our word, the power of our word, and being able to call back our power or call in powers, or to activate or invoke powers, okay? The evoking and invoking powers. Okay, this card is 46, right? I'm getting like it's mature. These are mature. Getting higher into this deck, we start 1, right? In this deck, the higher the numbers get, the higher the numbers are, the more higher consciousness it is. So definitely dealing with the consciousness of your crown, like your crown chakra, your enlightenment, the things that you have broken through and understood about yourself in totality, to really say you understand. Okay, when you get to the crown chakra, it's where you really understand. So you've gone through the experiences, you've learned the lessons, you've gained the wisdom, and now you can see it. All right, now you can see it, and now you know better. We can actually know better here. Okay, we say we know better, we do better, but until we actually doing better, we don't know. Okay, until we're actually doing better on a consistent basis and it becomes first nature, we don't know. And so with this perfection card, it represents perfection with command, perfecting the word by saying, I am in command. Okay, it's a mantra. Affirmations are a potent tool for enhancing your spiritual journey. Incorporate them in your daily life's activities. Your words are very powerful and can program your reality. God created the world by speaking it into existence. Learn to speak up for yourself. Know your words have power and use them wisely. Your voice matters, and remember, whatever you speak creates a spell that echoes in eternity. Choose your words wisely. So back to identity with retribution, knowing your identity, right? So a lot of healing the inner child's sense of identity based on what you've said about yourself or what's been said to you. They say sticks and stones break bones, words don't hurt. That is a lie. In all caps, red letters, LIE. That's a lie. Words hurt. Words last a long time. Okay, words can last a long. Words leave a very strong impression of us. If you're teased, bullied, all of that kind of stuff. So taking back your power and reaffirming yourself of, say, your beauty or your strength or your creativity or, your confidence, right? Saying these affirmations. Mirror meditations are amazing. Try mirror meditations. All right, looking at yourself in the mirror. Try recording your voice, having your voice on record, saying affirmations and listening to it, so it allows your subconscious to be reprogrammed. Yeah. Record your own voice saying affirmations so that you can hear the voice in your head, because when we hear a voice in our head, it's mostly the sound of our voice, right? But the echoes of other people's things that they've said is said in our voice in our head. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. So to combat this, you create affirmations and you say their affirmations are very powerful. Okay, when you do them with intent and you do them, consistently. You know what I mean? Do them consistently. Like, I want to say 21 days. You got to do something for 21 days, and then, there's more to associate with a mantra as well. You can associate symbols or sigils, right? So if you have a affirmation that says, I am confident, you create a sigil, you find a sigil, a symbol or something, or associated color, that's typically the solar plexus. So yellow, like that becomes a code for you, right? Getting playful with the work here, with the shadow work here. Again, embrace the inner child. How would a child play with, things like the children have imagination, right? They play pretend, but we have a higher knowledge and a higher understanding of how things operate. So we know to utilize the colors of the rainbow for our chakras, for example. You know what I'm saying? So saying those affirmations, wearing the colors, it all reprograms us in a way, a very deep way, to see ourselves as we truly are and who we're becoming. Okay. So you are in command with your words, right? Anything anybody's ever said to you, projection, right? For the most part, people project, and we have a power over ourselves as well, right? To heal, to overcome, to know ourselves, to allow ourselves to grow and change. Okay, to see ourselves beyond our experiences. We are not what happened to us, right? The soul does not age. The soul is pure. We have to retrieve those joyful, blissful aspects of ourselves by getting through the shadows, getting through the triggers, okay? The things you used to enjoy, the passions that you used to have, they are still there, okay? That little you is still in there, cheering you on, proud of you, wanting to be nurtured. All right. Yes. So if you'd like to book a reading or a service, click the link in my link tree, because I'm going to close this out right here. All right. Otherwise, stay blessed, stay in love, okay? And until next time, peace.